I'm Paul Butler. I'm one of the client partners at New Leaf Training and Development, and I'm joined today by Alan Wilson, who is the Vice President for Marine Operations for Holland America Group, who I'm delighted to say are a client of ours. Alan, for the last 15 years, as you well know, we've really focused on three core purposes of helping people better manage themselves, lead others, and grow business acumen. So I just wondered, for our viewers, for our listeners, what would be your recommended best practices in those areas? But before you do that, Alan, tell us a little bit more about your organization, what you specifically do and who you serve. And over to you, Alan, and I'll wrap it up when you're done.
Thank you, Paul. So I'm, as you say, Alan Wilson, the Vice President of Marine Operations for Holland America Group. People might not recognize the name of Holland America Group, but we are manage four companies: Princess Cruises, Holland America Lines, Seabourn Cruises, and P&O Australia. And we're part of 9 brands of the Carnival Corporation. So we have a very big operation. This last 16 months have been a very interesting period for us, as most people will recognize that we had to, what we call, put our ships into pause and stop operations. So we had to go through a period of no income coming in, and obviously as a company we had to raise some capital to keep the business going. Ships, cruise ships in particular, are very expensive to run even while we were in pause operations. So it all started with Diamond Princess last February, when there was an outbreak of COVID. And this is where we really started to learn how we can pool resources from all across our corporation, not just within Princess Cruises, but Holland America Group and the Carnival Corporation, or All Brands Group as we call them. So we sent a team out to Tokyo to manage our emergency response to react to this. And as I say, we had different groups, whether it be marine operations, guest experience, port operations, procurement, legal. And it was a very interesting experience, as we were dealing very closely with the Japanese government while they actually were responsible for managing the response of disembarking all our guests and teammates. And from then, after being out for a month in Japan, we then had another outbreak on the Grand Princess in San Francisco. And again, we worked very much as a team, using different efforts across the corporation, resources, PR. And I think one of the most learning events out of the last 16 months is the way that we can adapt and have teamwork. We really understood how, with a large corporation, how teamwork and flexibility is so important. So after we had these outbreaks and we put the ships into pause, we then had to get all our crew or teammates back home to their home countries. There were many countries which would not accept even their own nationalities back into their country. So there was a lot of political operations going on to try and work with different countries. I was put in charge of a team where we had 33 ships anchored off in Manila, and over a period of a couple of months we were able to repatriate over 20,000 of our crew members back home. This involved moving ships from the US, from Europe, from all parts of the world, stopping off at different countries in India and Africa to try and disembark this. We would group the different nationalities together and send a ship to that country so that we could offload and discharge. Then, of course, once we had offloaded or discharged or sent on leave those that weren't necessary for the operation of the ship, we then had the challenge of those that were required to continue to operate in the ship, and sometimes just taking one of our ships, about 1,200 crew on board. We brought these team numbers down to about 120. So they had still been on board. They'd maybe been stuck without being able to go home for up to 6 months or more, in some cases, even up to over a year. And then we needed to try and get replacements on board. So then we arranged for people to come out, had to go into quarantine, once again dealing with the different complexities of countries and the rules that they had. So you can't stress enough about how you had to adapt with the teams. And with these teams, we had people in Florida, we had people in Asia, we had people in Japan, we had people in Manila, people in California, people in Seattle and Washington, all working together. And one of the big benefits now is you and I are talking here in Zoom. We now have all these different communication tools that it has become much easier as a group to communicate and be effective, and if not even more effective. I don't know about you, Paul, but I think one of the things of working from home is that we work even more. There's no commuting any longer. We come into our office and start early in the morning and finish late at night. So I think you know, you talk about how can we help people manage, and I think so one of the most important things is being able to communicate. It's one of the key things, making sure that plans are clear, and then we talk about leadership. So you need different areas. There's all people, some people are more operational, other people are planners, some people are financial, like yourself. And so it's very important that we use all these different resources to pull everyone together. So I think now for us as a business, we're now refocused on what we call our return to service. It's pleased to say that we have 6 Holland America Group ships back in service again. And again, that has been built up with teams. We have different ships across different areas of the world. And we again have set up teams, how we can have all the ships returning to service. It's over a spread period of time, and to make sure this is all pulled together, we have allocated a project manager. So so project management is another important key when you're working in these large operations. And I think that's the key aspects of what I wanted to share with you today, Paul.
Well, Alan, thanks ever so much on behalf of everyone who watches these, just for your very clear communication on helping people better manage themselves and lead others, and just knowing a little bit more about the story, what you've gone through in the last, 16, 18 months, Alan, is just absolutely incredible. And thanks again for all that you're doing for the industry. I know this might sound a bit strange, Alan, for a Scottishman and an Englishman, but could I offer you a virtual high five? Thanks ever so much, Alan.
You're welcome, Paul.